Alright, just some breaking and sad news that I have to report. It's Brother Darren, of course, Hebrews 9 verse 27 and John 3 verse 16 YouTube ministry. Now, I pray especially, obviously, for the war in Israel to come to an end as swiftly as possible and with the minimum of civilian casualties. And as far as I'm concerned, Hamas are a terrorist group and organisation, and the land was given to Israel by the Lord. And I do have an up and coming project where I'll be discussing Israel versus Hamas. People are trying to part the land, or have even tried for the United Nations, but God gave it to Israel first. But anyway, I'm going to move on past that. But my prayers do go out once again to the innocents and all those that are suffering. But this keeps continuing and will continue to happen until the Lord comes. So I have to report on a BBC News article from a day ago where up to 170 people have been killed in Burkina Faso, a nation in Africa. I'm not going to go through the whole article. You can find it on BBC News, but I am going to read a couple of paragraphs and then finish. So BBC News, Burkina Faso says 170 dead in village executions. So it says some 170 people, including women and children, have been executed in attacks on 3 villages in Burkina Faso, a public prosecutor has said. Ali Benjamin Koulibaly appealed for witnesses to help find those who attacked Komsilga, Nordin and Soro. Separately, the army warned of the increased risk of attacks by Islamists, including attacks on urban centres. The country's army seized power in 2022, but more than a third of Burkina Faso is controlled by insurgents. Mr. Koulibaly said he had launched an investigation into the village attacks in Yatanga province on the 25th of February. The AFP news agency reported that dozens of women and children were among the dead. It was not known which group was behind the attacks. They are not believed to be related to other recent violence, attacks on the church as well as on mosque and army bases elsewhere in the country. And we go on to read here, years of rampant insecurity has forced more than 2 million people from their homes, and the United Nations estimates that a quarter of all children under 5 have stunted growth, resulting from hunger. So that's what we have here. It's just tragic. Let's see actually if we can find any more news on it. Burkina Faso, 170 dead. Because I like to get more than one source, and the BBC do have their biases in terms of the news. Here's africanews.com. Let's see what they say. At least 170 people were killed in northern Burkina Faso last week. Burkina Faso is battling an Islamist militancy insurgency in its north and east. So this is what BBC missed out. Armed groups, sometimes affiliated to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, regularly launch attacks on civilian and military installations. The violence has killed more than 20,000 people. Anyway, I'll end it there. Once again, even for people that are jihadists, I pray for them. I pray they will truly find Christ. Think about some of the trauma that they've inflicted on their victims and truly repent. God bless. Brother Darren, Hebrews 9 verse 27 and John 3 verse 16 YouTube ministry.